Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel for a special breaking news edition of our deep dive tennis analysis. Today is Tuesday, May 12th, 2026, and if you've been following the action on the red clay of the Foro Italico, you know that the Internazionale BNL d'Italia always has a flair for the dramatic. But what's just unfolded over the last 24 hours in Rome is not just dramatic. It is a script so wildly improbable that if you wrote it for a Hollywood sports movie, the producers would send it back for being too unrealistic. We have a massive tectonic shift in the doubles draw. It has just been confirmed that the newly formed last-minute alternate pairing of the Philippines' Alexandra Eala and the United States' Hailey Batpiste has not only entered the main draw, but they are stepping directly into the fire. In their very first round match, they are confirmed to face the absolute titans of the sport, the number 2 seeded team, comprising the current world number 1 and world number 2 doubles players, Katerina Siniakova and Taylor Townsend. Take a moment to let that sink in. Just hours ago, the dynamic Italian-Canadian duo of Elisabetta Cacciaretto and Leylah Fernandez were slated in this spot. They were preparing, they were practicing, and the local Italian crowds were eagerly awaiting Cacciaretto's appearance. But sports, as we know, are inherently unpredictable. A sudden, last-minute withdrawal completely upended the draw. The tournament referee's office at the Foro Italico, normally a place of quiet, organized chaos, was sent into a frenzy. They went straight to the top of the alternate list. Waiting there, completely unexpectedly, were Alex Eala and Hailey Batpiste. You have to imagine the sheer adrenaline spike of receiving that phone call. One moment, your tournament might be over, or you're simply waiting in the wings, hitting on the practice courts near the majestic pine trees of Rome, wondering if you'll even get to put on your match gear. The next moment, you are told you are in, but the euphoria of entry is immediately followed by the sobering, almost chilling reality of the draw. You are not easing into this tournament. You're not playing fellow qualifiers or wild cards. You are walking out onto the legendary clay of the Nicola Pietrangeli Stadium to face the ultimate final bosses of women's doubles tennis. This news has sent absolute shockwaves through the tennis community. It is the purest, most concentrated definition of a David versus Goliath matchup that we have seen all season on the WTA Tour. To understand the magnitude of this, we have to look at the context. We are in the thick of the European clay court swing. The French Open at Roland Garros is looming just around the corner. Every team here in Rome is looking to peak, to fine-tune their communication, their poaching, their baseline strategies. Siniakova and Townsend are not here just to participate. They are here to conquer, to cement their status as the apex predators of the doubles circuit before they head to Paris. And standing in their way is a pairing that is running purely on instinct, raw talent, and the liberating, dangerous energy of having absolutely nothing to lose. For Alex Eala, this is a breathtaking pivot. Just this past Sunday night, she fought a grueling, brilliant singles match against the former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina. Eala pushed Rybakina to the absolute limit in the third round, ultimately bowing out with a very respectable 4-6, 3-6 scoreline. It was a match that showcased her incredible growth, her tactical maturity, and her sheer resilience. Most players, after a high-stakes emotional loss to a top-tier opponent like Rybakina, might pack their bags, take a few days of rest, and mentally transition to the next city. But Eala chose to stay. She chose to put her name on the alternate list. She chose to keep fighting. That decision alone speaks volumes about the competitive fire burning inside this young Filipina star, who is currently sitting at a career-high singles ranking of 88 in the world. And then there is her partner, the incredibly powerful American Hailey Batpiste. Batpiste is riding her own wave of momentum this season. We all remember her astonishing run at the Madrid Open just a couple weeks ago, where she pulled off one of the upsets of the year by taking down the defending champion Aryna Sabalenka to reach the semifinals. Batpiste plays with a fearless, aggressive, heavy-hitting style that can hit any opponent off the court on any given day. But doubles is a completely different geometry. It is a different language. It requires a synergy that usually takes months, if not years, to develop. Putting a baseline grinder and a power hitter together at the 11th hour to face Siniakova and Townsend is a tennis experiment of the highest order. You might be feeling a sense of disbelief right now, and honestly, The statistics validate that emotion. The odds makers are completely skewing in one direction. The algorithms are pointing to a swift victory for the seeds. But tennis is not played on a spreadsheet. It is played on a living, breathing, unpredictable crushed red brick of Rome, where legends have fallen and new stars have been born under the Italian sun. So, how do we get here? And more importantly, how exactly does this match break down on a technical level? Let us transition from the initial shock of the news and dive deeply into the players, the history, and the tactical blueprint of what promises to be an unforgettable encounter at the Italian Open. To truly appreciate the texture of this upcoming match, we have to isolate the components of this newly minted partnership. Let's begin with Alexandra Eala. At just 20 years old, Eala is carrying a phenomenal amount of pressure on her shoulders, though you would rarely know it by looking at her calm demeanor on the court. She is not just playing for ranking points or prize money. She is the undisputed face of Philippine tennis on the global stage. Coming out of the esteemed Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Eala was fundamentally built for the clay. Her game is constructed around heavy topspin, relentless consistency, and a left-handed forehand that can create incredibly difficult angles, particularly on the ad side of the court. Eala's journey to this moment has been a steady, grueling climb up the ITF and WTA ladders. She has been breaking records for her country left and right, recently cracking the top 90 in the world in singles, a monumental achievement. However, her doubles pedigree is still in its developmental phase. She currently hovers around the 150 mark in the WTA doubles rankings. But do not let that number deceive you. Eala possesses phenomenal court sense. In doubles, her ability to dip the ball low over the net, forcing opponents to volley up from below the net cord, is a highly disruptive weapon. Furthermore, she actually faced Siniakova and Townsend just over 2 weeks ago at the Madrid Open. Partnering with the Turkish player Zeynep Sönmez, Eala fell to eventual champions 1-6, 5-7. While the scoreline shows a straight sets loss, the second set was a fiercely contested battle. Eala knows exactly what the ball looks like coming off Townsend's racket. She knows the intimidation factor of Siniakova at the net. That recent, visceral experience is an invaluable asset that she brings into this partnership today. She is not walking out there blind. She is walking out there with fresh intelligence. On the other side of the center line stands Hailey Batpiste. If Eala is a steady, angular tactician, Batpiste is a heavy artillery. The 24-year-old from Washington, D.C. possesses one of the most naturally powerful games on the women's tour. When Batpiste has time to set up her feet, her ground strokes are absolutely punishing. As we saw during her giant-slaying run in Madrid, she has a raw velocity to overpower even the biggest hitters in the world. Her serve is a massive weapon, capable of generating free points, which is the most precious commodity in the doubles format. Currently sitting around 25 in the world in singles and inside the top 130 in doubles. Batpiste is a player who thrives on big stages and thrives on playing the role of the disruptor. The fascinating aspect of this pairing is their recent interpersonal history. They are not strangers. In fact, they have squared off against each other in highly consequential matches just this year. In February at the WTA 1000 event in Dubai, Eala defeated Batpiste in singles when the American was forced to retire, but turned the page to March in the doubles draw at Indian Wells, and the tables were turned. Batpiste, partnering with Jelena Ostapenko, decisively defeated Eala, who was partnered with Iva Jovic, with a score of 2-6, 2-6. They have felt the weight of each other's shots. They understand each other's tendencies under pressure. The challenge now is to instantly convert that adversarial knowledge into cooperative synergy. They have to figure out in real time how Baptiste's booming serve can set up Eala for a poaching volley, or how Eala's sharp, left-handed cross-court returns can give Batpiste a high ball to put away. It is a puzzle they have to solve while under fire from the best team on the planet. Now, we must turn our attention across the net to the mountain that Eala and Batpiste must climb. Katerina Siniakova and Taylor Townsend are not just a good doubles team. They are a generational force. They represent the perfect amalgamation of tennis IQ, specialized skill, and intimidating physical presence. Katerina Siniakova, representing the Czech Republic, is the undisputed queen of the doubles court. Sitting at world number 1, her resume is staggering. She is a multiple-time Grand Slam champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and possesses a preternatural understanding of the doubles game. Siniakova does not just play doubles. She orchestrates it. Her movement at the net is ghost-like. She seems to know where the ball is going before her opponent has even struck it. Her hands are incredibly soft, capable of deadening the most powerful passing shots into delicate drop volleys. But her greatest weapon is perhaps her lob. On the clay, where the bound is high and the footing can be slippery, Siniakova's offensive lob is a nightmare to defend. It pushes opponents off the baseline and completely resets the point in her favor. She is the anchor, the strategic mastermind who rarely makes an unforced error in crucial moments. Partnering her is the American, Taylor Townsend, currently ranked world number 2. Townsend's career trajectory is one of the most inspiring stories in modern tennis. After taking time away to become a mother, she returned to the tour with a refined focus and transformed herself into the premier serve and volley player in the women's game. Townsend is a throwback to a classic era of tennis, bringing an aggressive, net-rushing style that is incredibly rare today. As a left-hander, her serve out wide on the ad court pulls opponents completely off the screen, opening up the entire court for a simple put-away volley. When Townsend is stationed at the net, her physical presence is massive. She covers an immense amount of space, and her reaction volleys are devastating. When you combine Siniakova's baseline consistency, lobbing prowess, and net anticipation with Townsend's booming lefty serve and aggressive poaching, you create a tactical matrix that is almost impossible to crack. They have a combined points total in the WTA rankings that dwarfs the rest of the field. They are coming off a championship run in Madrid, proving that their games translate perfectly to the European red clay. They are disciplined, they are ruthless, and they are incredibly efficient. For Siniakova and Townsend, a first-round match against a pair of alternates is usually a routine day at the office, an opportunity to groove their returns and adjust to the court speed. They will step onto the Pietrangeli Stadium expecting a swift, business-like victory, and that absolute confidence is precisely what makes them so dangerous. So, we have established the players and the stakes. The question that remains is the most critical one. How does a newly formed alternate team beat the number 1 and number 2 players in the world on clay? Is it purely a matter of hoping the favorites have an exceptionally bad day? Or is there a tangible, strategic blueprint for an upset? Let us break down the exact tactical requirements for Eala and Batpiste to shock the world. Targeting the seams and using the lob. The primary challenge when facing Townsend at the net is her massive wingspan and reaction time. If Eala and Batpiste try to drive the ball right at her, they will lose the point 90% of the time. The strategy must be to play the ball low to the feet of the incoming volleyer or to utilize the lob heavily. Eala's heavy topspin is crucial here. If she can get the ball to dip drastically just as it crosses the net cord, Siniakova and Townsend will be forced to hit low, defensive volleys. This pops the ball up and allows Batpiste to step in and use her overwhelming power. Furthermore, they must not be afraid to lob. Pushing Siniakova and Townsend backward off the net on the slow clay takes away their primary advantage and turns the point into a baseline rally, where Baptiste's sheer pace and Eala's consistency can at least create an even playing field. The left-handed dynamic. We have a fascinating mirror effect in this match. Taylor Townsend is a lefty. Alex Eala is a lefty. This completely alters the standard geometry of the court. Eala's natural forehand cross-court goes directly into Townsend's forehand, which is a very heavy spin-loaded shot. Eala will have to be incredibly precise with her backhand down the line to keep Townsend honest. Conversely, on Eala's serve, she must exploit the ad court just as Townsend does, swinging the ball out wide to the backhands of both opponents to open up the middle for Batpiste to poach. The team that manages the spin and angles of the left-handed serves better will have a massive advantage in holding serve. Maximum aggression on the second serve. If you sit back and let Siniakova and Townsend dictate the point, the match will be over in under an hour. Eala and Batpiste must take immense risks on the return of serve, particularly on the second serve. When Siniakova misses her first serve, Batpiste needs to step significantly inside the baseline and take a massive cut at the ball, aiming right down the middle, creating confusion between the two players. They cannot allow the Czech-American pair to settle into a rhythm. They have to play chaotic, high-risk, high-reward tennis. They need to turn a match into a street fight rather than a chess match, because in a chess match, Siniakova always wins. Managing the emotional amperage. Perhaps the most vital key is completely invisible. It is the psychological battle. Walking onto a show court against the two best players in the world is terrifying. If Eala and Batpiste get broken early, it is incredibly easy to let the match slip away, to mentally concede that the opponents are just too good. They must celebrate every single point. They must maintain a high energy level, constantly communicating, high-fiving, and projecting an aura of belief. They need to show the crowd, and more importantly, show their opponents, that they are not intimidated. The pressure in this match is entirely 100% on Siniakova and Townsend. No one expects Eala and Batpiste to win. That freedom from expectation is their greatest psychological weapon. If they can keep the score close in the first set, if they can hold serve a few times and get the Roman crowd behind the underdog story, the pressure will shift squarely onto the shoulders of the number 2 seeds. As we prepare for the players to take the court, it is important to zoom out and look at the broader implications of this match. Why does this single first-round doubles match at the Italian Open matter so much? First, consider the impact on Philippine sports. The Philippines is a nation with a deep, passionate sporting culture, primarily dominated by basketball and boxing. Tennis has historically been a niche sport, but Alexandra Eala is changing that narrative single-handedly. Every time she steps onto a court of this magnitude, thousands of miles away in Manila, young kids are watching. They are seeing a Filipina athlete stand toe-to-toe with the very best in the world. Win or lose today, the image of Eala walking out to face the world number 1 and 2 is a powerful testament to her arrival on the global stage. It validates the years of sacrifice, the move away from her family at a young age to train in Spain, and the relentless grind of the ITF circuit. If she manages to pull off a competitive showing, or by some miracle, an upset, the resultant boom in tennis interest back home will be immeasurable. For Hailey Batpiste, this is a moment to prove her versatility. We know she can hit through anyone in singles, but great champions are well-rounded, mastering the intricacies of doubles, the soft hands, the rapid decision-making, the teamwork, invariably improves a player's singles game. Facing Townsend, an American compatriot who successfully navigated the transition to the top of the doubles world, is a masterclass in real time. This match will test Baptiste's patience and her ability to adapt when sheer power is neutralized by brilliant court positioning. Furthermore, this match is a beautiful reminder of the chaotic magic of the tennis tour. In highly structured, heavily seeded tournaments, the narratives can sometimes feel predetermined. The top seeds advance. The favorites win. The algorithms are proven correct. But then a withdrawal happens. A phone call is made. And suddenly, 2 alternates are thrown into the gladiator arena of the Foro Italico to face the undisputed champions. It is a human element of the sport. It is a realization that on any given Tuesday, under the bright Italian sun, statistics can be defied. Will Siniakova and Townsend put on a clinic and dismantle the newly formed team with surgical precision? It is highly probable. They are the masters of their craft. But will Eala and Batpiste swing freely, hit a few impossible winners, and make the legends sweat for every single point? That is the hope. They step onto court today not just as tennis players, but as an embodiment of the underdog spirit. They are playing with the house's money, fueled by adrenaline and the sheer joy of the unexpected opportunity. So, settle in. Whether you are watching for the tactical masterclass of the world's best, or you are tuning in hoping to witness a historic, earth-shattering upset, this match is all the ingredients of a classic. The red clay is prepared. The players are walking down the tunnel. The Roman crowd is finding their seats. Alexandra Eala and Hailey Batpiste versus Katerina Siniakova and Taylor Townsend. The alternates versus the queens. Let the games begin.